Hello and welcome back to Friday Minis. Now, today let's talk Windows Startup. Now, sometimes you download a program and without telling you, it just sets itself up so it can run on startup. And that's kind of obnoxious because you now have to spend that precious boot up time waiting for that program to begin. And sometimes you don't even want to use it. So that sucks, right? It would be nice to take that away. Well, you can. Sometimes on the other hand, you want something to start up. For me, because I write scripts, sometimes I like those scripts to start when the computer starts. Guess what? You can do that as well. So today, let's take a look at the two different places in which you can do this. The first of the two methods is more relevant towards taking away a program that, wants to start up, but you don't want it to. To begin, open up your task manager by pressing Ctrl, Shift, Escape on your keyboard. Now, if you are seeing this simplified view, just know that there's a lot more to Task Manager than you thought. Click on the More Details button at the bottom and you will see a much more complex view. For us, what we're going to do is we're going to head over to the Startup tab, and let me make this a little bit bigger. Well, all the tools that you can potentially change the startup status for are right here. So if you want to disable something, simply right click and click on Disable. Alternatively, if you want to enable something that has been disabled, right click and say Enable. Now, earlier versions of Windows have this in a slightly different place. To get there, get to the Run dialog by pressing Windows R. This opens the Run dialog as you see in the lower left corner here. Type in msconfig and then press Enter. This brings you to a system configuration panel in which you can find a Startup tab. Now, as you can see, I no longer have this because I'm using Windows 10. If you're using an earlier version of Windows, you will see something very similar to what we've just seen previously. So again, you can choose to enable or disable startup programs from here. As usual, it's important to mention there are some risks involved with doing this. If you uncheck the wrong thing, weird things may happen. But on this particular tab, it's not too bad. Incidentally, there is a Services tab as well. It works more or less the same way, but again, this one is particularly sensitive because there are important system services there. So do be careful what you switch on or off. Now, if you're dealing with rogue software that just wants to start up, this will fix the problem 90% of the time. But in case it doesn't, there is another place. And this is the same place where we can put in our own programs to get them to run. Now, to do this, you actually have to navigate to a folder within your Start menu. On all the computers I've ever worked with, the path looks something like this. That's the path to the folder that you're seeing on screen right now. So while I cannot guarantee it's going to be the same for your computer, I believe it should be. Alright, so what you're going to do now is open up any File Explorer window, you can go to this PC or whatever, and simply type in the whole thing. Basically, any shortcuts, any programs that you have within this folder will automatically start when your computer starts. If you see something in there that you don't want, remove it. If it's a shortcut, you can probably just delete it. If it's an entire application, which shouldn't happen, you want to move it somewhere safe. For me, like I said, I write auto-hotkey scripts that do a bunch of things. So what I do is I actually copy and paste the entire scripts in there. It's probably a better idea to have the scripts elsewhere and then link it, but I'm lazy, so I do things like that. Do as I say, not as I do, but you get the idea, right? Whatever lives in that folder will automatically run when your computer starts. So that, ladies and gentlemen, are the Windows startup options in a nutshell. Again, if you have weird programs starting up when you don't want them to, well, that's one way to get rid of them. And of course, if you want to set up programs to run when Windows starts, that's the place to go. Two methods we've seen today. One of them is msconfig and the other is the Start menu startup folder. So that's it. Hope you find this useful. That's all there is for this particular episode of Friday Minis. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, you're watching 0612 TV with NERDfirst.net. Thank you very much for watching. If you like my work and are feeling generous, you can shoot me a one-time donation on PayPal or sign up for a recurring one on Patreon. Of course, you can simply like, comment, and subscribe. You know the deal. For more videos, links to my channel and a related playlist are on screen. Thank you for your support.